And his Uncle Benjamin, who got eaten by a cannibal. And he's just so angry. And do you blame him?
Hello, and welcome to the Afterspark podcast, an episode-by-episode recap of the Generation 1 Transformers cartoon. I'm Als.
And I'm Specs.
And today we're going to be talking about episode number 10, War of the Dinobots. Let's talk about giant robots today, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So, we open with Chip viewing a dangerous meteor through a telescope.
We got our boy Chip back.
I'm glad to see him. Chip's a good boy.
He's the best human so far.
Yeah.
I think he will continue to be the best human.
I have a hard time picking between him and Raoul, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really like Raoul, but I also really like Chip, so I have a hard time picking. I feel like Raoul might win just ever so slightly, because I like him and Tracks together more, but Chip's still... He's up there. He's like my second favorite, if nothing else.
We need both of them and Carly to show up in an episode in some new series and
they
just
never
be...
do in G1, which is really disappointing because I like all these characters, but we never actually I think we get to see Chip and Carly interact, and we get to see not Chip at all.
Raoul?
Spike and Carly, and Chip and Spike, but I don't think we really get to see a lot of the other ones interact.
Yeah,
which is a pity.
Yeah.
Anyway. Chip calls the Autobots because they're the only ones who can save the Earth from this meteor, apparently.
Never mind that it apparently lands more or less safely, but who the hell cares? Spike is chilling in Optimus's cab on a ride to the observatory, like teenage boys do.
No worries, Dad. I'm not going out drinking and driving. I'm just gonna ride my giant alien robot friend. Optimus's burning conviction to save the Earth once he, figures out what's going on shines through as he clenches his fist and it's covered with red electricity.
How very anime of you, Optimus.
Indeed. Optimus decides that they need to get to the meteor before the Decepticons do because it might be a power source, apparently. And opts to take the Dinobots as backup.
I don't think they thought this through
at all. I don't think they did either.
Meanwhile, Megatron totally rages against the machine.
Or at least the fact that the Dinobots kicked their ass.
Yeah. So, it's Tuesday night. Time for Starscream and Megatron's weekly tiff.
Of course. Megatron insults Starscream's strategies and orders Soundwave to find the Dinobots' weak points.
As one does.
Of course.
Soundwave flies off to spy on the Dinobots?
/ Autobots.
Yes, the Autobots, sorry. Yeah.
Which, of course, means he lands near them, and then Soundwave, a giant 30-foot tall robot, does this by sneaking against the side of a building. It is great.
Oh, I feel we should probably mention that the meteor, lands in, the middle of this sort of bombed-out-looking town, which is across the river from a perfectly ordinary-looking town, or whatever.
Did I miss that part? Where was across the river?
There's a bridge or something, I think. Well, it's separated somehow. I don't
Regardless,
remember
yeah,
why.
it basically landed in this, very bombed-out-looking place perfectly fine, so I don't know why there was this whole, they've got to save the Earth.
Yeah, but so... Yeah, Soundwave is basically sneaking through ruins.
Yes. But of course, he's still a 30-foot robot, so, he sends out a good old listening tentacle.
It makes snake sound effects. It's kind of weird.
I love it.
The Autobots are trying to get a twofer for putting their allies in danger today, as they brought along both Chip and Spike.
Because that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And okay, Soundwave has been beat out for worse naming schemes to fucking Spike, as Spike suggests they name the meteorite after Chip as the Meteoroni Chipperoni?
Meteorini Chipperoni, or whatever.
Oh god, it's terrible. Anyway, shut up, Spike.
It's a pretty fucking big meteor, I guess, about the size of Optimus Prime, though whether it was bigger when it was before, burning through the atmosphere is another thing entirely, and, honestly, it probably should have, had a crater. I don't think it did.
Really didn't. It might have, but it wasn't very deep. They extract a sample from the meteorite via shooting at it.
Extraction via gun. It's the fastest, but definitely not the safest way to do this when you're afraid the goddamn thing's gonna blow up.
They don't know that yet.
Well, they keep talking about how it's possibly dangerous, so...
I sometimes question Wheeljack's science credentials.
Except, isn't it Optimus shooting the thing?
Maybe he was, but Wheeljack's the one who asked for a sample.
True. And the Dinobots are left behind to guard the meteor, as one does.
Of course.
Chip describes seeing the Autobots transform as outrageous!
What show does he think he's in? Gem and the Holograms?
Well, it could be argued that they're all in the same universe,
We're not getting into that, but yes.
And so they just decide to leave their young, impressionable, and not-so-smart babies behind without supervision to guard the meteor.
What could go wrong, am I right?
I mean, they leave them in a closet most of the time, so okay. No one ever gave them the stranger danger talk.
So true.
Seriously, they couldn't leave Wheeljack and or Ratchet with them. Ratchet, someone.
You would think. I mean, like, clearly they shouldn't be left here by themselves. And Optimus, despite trying to offline them a few episodes back, says he's pleased with the Dinobots and is going to order 2 more.
Their family planning is not good.
No, it's not. Once back at the base, Chip suggests a Stegosaurus and a Pteranodon for the 2 new dinos. Ratchet and Wheeljack seem to agree with this.
They think it's a hot idea.
They just want to make more babies.
Yeah, and Sparkplug asks if there's anything Chip doesn't know about. Spike and Chip just, like, share a look that seems to say, good question.
Chip, resident super genius. Back at the Dinobots, Soundwave continues spying by initiating a brain scan with a scanner that pops out of his head.
Because of course, we've got this listening tentacle, and now we've got brain scan time. I mean, yeah, okay, he's psychic, but whatever.
I mean, at least we've seen the listening tentacle pop up a few times at this point.
Yeah. This breaks down to Slag wants to fight, Grimlock wants to be the boss man, and Sludge just wants to follow whoever's strongest, because apparently, well, he's not good at critical thinking, but I don't think any of them are especially good at that, though we did look at the tech specs, and Grimlock is indeed the smartest of them.
Or at least in the toys and the comics, that begs to be seen if that's relevant, if that's the exact same stats here.
Yeah.
Megatron seems to translate this information slightly differently, with Slag is hostile, Grimlock is arrogant, and Sludge is stupid. Poor Sludge.
Yeah.
The evil plan for today is to use this information to make them fight against Optimus Prime and steal the meteor.
So we're just gonna make babies do shit today.
I'm gonna go with yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remain convinced Megatron has a bling obsession, as he is way too damn excited about big shiny rocks.
I mean, there were those rubies, there was that giant thing in South America, there's these, I feel like there have been more rocks, there's going to be more rocks in the future.
Yeah, he has a thing for bling. Optimus just needs to get him bling, and then propose to Megatron, and the war would be over. Just give the man his bling.
Yeah.
The Seekers attack the Dinobots, who defend themselves.
They gave the babies guns, probably with little to no proper training on said weapons, because the Autobots are morons.
Well, the Autobots just aren't good with sparklings, methinks.
Yeah.
Megatron lands, and several things happen all at once. Namely, that Megatron takes 3 dino beams / fire to the face with absolutely no issue whatsoever. He literally tosses his fusion cannon off to the side. He basically is like, why can't we just be friends? I just want to talk to you guys.
The Dinobots fall for Megatron's flattery as he tells them they are stronger than him, and stronger than all the other Autobots.
Leading Grim to reach the conclusion that he, Grimlock, should be leader. Oh, you idiots. My poor, dumb dino idiots.
Poor Dinobabies.
They deserve better.
And meanwhile, the Seekers take off with the meteorite that the Dinobots were guarding. Like, they literally toss out these, like, grappling hook things from their bellies, and they latch onto the meteor, and it just looks really goofy.
Back at base, are you ready for a montage?
We're ready for a montage!
We see that plans are underway to build the new Dinobots.
God, Sparkplug is holding a document that says outline plan Desgate?
Someone couldn't spell design.
Or they couldn't fit it and they didn't care, or they just didn't speak English or something. Which is
or they were like, nobody will
fine.
see this, and then DVDs came along and whoops.
Yeah.
Making babies, though, it's totally something the whole family can enjoy together.
Yeah, and Wheeljack calls Optimus to his lab to tell him that the meteorite is unstable as fuck and could literally explode, at any second.
This is important because we need to show off Trailbreaker's super secret awesome ability to create force fields, which he promptly uses to contain the conveniently timed explosion that happens immediately after.
I mean, we saw the force shield stuff when they were off on Cybertron with the acid rain that time, so this isn't exactly a surprise, but it's a new use of it.
I guess.
Because, yeah, he just surrounds the thing and then it blows itself up and it's fine.
Everything's fine. The base is fine. Wheeljack is fine. Optimus is fine.
There isn't even, like, a smear or whatever. Or, I don't know. And so, hey, they learned something from the first Dinobot disaster, so no showing off the Dinobots indoors by the Ark. They're gonna show Swoop and Snarl off outside instead of next to freaking Teletran 1!
You know, the thing that controls their entire base.
They learned a thing!
They did learn a thing! Swoop and Snarl seem to be slightly smarter than their compatriots, with Swoop using a more grammatically correct sentence than we normally hear from a Dinobot.
And the new Dinobots are solar-powered. Or at least Snarl is. They probably both are. And I guess to go back to the intelligence thing, apparently Swoop and Snarl have 7, according to their toy tech specs. Well, 7 in intelligence.
Which is still more than the other Dinobots aside from Grimlock, right?
Yeah, Grimlock was an 8. I think Sludge was a 3, which just makes me sad.
Poor Sludge. Poor
And
baby.
I'm not
I just
sure
want to give
about...
Sludge a hug now.
Yeah, not sure about Slag or Slug. I feel like he was a 5.
Maybe it was.
But I don't remember. And, oh god. And then Ratchet and Wheeljack just tell basically everybody to try and take out the Dinobots. Because apparently that's what you do.
I'm not sure who I think this is being mean to, the Dinobots or to everyone else.
Because the Dinobots do a number on everyone. Yeah. Sideswipe is super goddamn excited to fight. And gets a pretty good punch on Swoop in.
Swoop and Snarl pretty much wipe out everybody else, though.
Yeah, I think someone gets picked up and dropped, and yeah, none of the Autobots are having a grand old time. And then Optimus shows up where they left the other 3 Dinobots, who are now missing along with the meteorite, because we saw what happened earlier.
Exactly. And we get to see his tiny antennae pop out of his helm as he calls the base. It's great.
And the Dinobots then pop out of nowhere and triple team Optimus.
Optimus makes a plea for the Dinobots to stop this, but naturally this fails. Optimus is also making strange moaning noises again through this. I wish he would stop.
Oh god, I'm not sure how either of us could, like, do the keyboard smashing.
I knew I was gonna have to be the one to say that anyway, so it was just like,
And so Optimus is knocked on his ass, like he's literally knocked into some sort of fissure or something?
Yeah!
Yeah, well, yeah, he's knocked on his aft, or his ass, or whatever. Grimlock shows a smidgen of discomfort at the idea of murdering a helpless opponent. Because apparently he has some sort of honor, even though he is a small child, basically a very young person who has not had a whole lot of moral education.
As Optimus puts it when he gets back up, he blathers something about traces of Autobot training.
What training? You stuffed them in a closet!
In the next shot, Grimlock has clearly stolen Optimus's gun as he reports into Megatron about Prime's defeat.
Because he literally just has it.
Yeah, he has it. I feel a little weirded out that I can actually tell Prime's gun apart from everybody else's now, but I can.
That's what happens.
That's what happens when you play the freaking PS4 game so much and you end up playing as everybody, including Optimus Prime, despite only wanting to play as Wheeljack. I actually feel bad because I'm like, Grimlock's in that one. I love Grimlock, but I think I don't like playing as him because he's hard. He's basically constantly swapping between robot mode and dino mode the entire time. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Ooh.
Elsewhere, we see Megatron overseeing the filling of Energon cubes from the meteor. Or where they've taken the meteor, anyway.
Yeah, Soundwave is making more Tupperware cubes again, and then seems to defy all laws of physics as he shoots the meteorite, and somehow this causes a flow of energy to fill up the Energon cubes.
Despite them being, like, not near each other, it's very strange.
Yeah, it's kind of kooky.
And for once, Starscream makes an accurate observation that the meteorite energy seems unstable.
And Megatron's a dick about it.
Of course! Never mind that Starscream is in fact a scientist, but whatever!
And then the Dinobots show up, dragging Optimus with them, you know, like the dead weight he is right now.
Ouch! Megatron is rather pissed that Optimus isn't fucking dead.
And Starscream says that Grimlock will never destroy Optimus, begging Megatron not to listen to Grim.
Give the bot credit where credit is due. He is on a roll today. Starscream is on a roll today.
He is. And Optimus also attempts to tell Megatron that the meteorite's unstable, so that's 2 people telling him it's unstable.
Yes, Megatron ignores this too.
At the Ark, Wheeljack has tracked down where the Decepticons have taken the meteor, and the Autobots send out Snarl and Swoop to help.
Megatron's unstable Energon stash finally explodes, sending Reflector and poor Soundwave flying.
There were some really funny photos from that.
There were. It was pretty great.
Mm-hmm. And Starscream gives Megatron his best, "I told you so!"
Swoop and Snarl show up via flying, and Megatron orders the other 3 Dinobots to transform and attack.
The Dinobots fight, Swoop getting the short end of the stick fight-wise, because one of his wings gets chomped on.
Yeah,
at least a few
it looks
times.
painful,
And
poor baby.
poor kid, like, he's just woken up, he's like...
And now his older brothers are chomping on him.
He's now an hour old or something.
Starscream and Megs flee as the meteorite threatens to explode, and Optimus tackles Grimlock out of the way of the explosion.
This looks an awful lot like that bit in Fantasia with all the dinosaurs.
Grimlock, understandably, is now pissed at Megatron.
And Megatron does the smart thing and orders a retreat to escape the angry T-Rex.
Angry big T-Rex.
Yep.
I'm glad a camera, a cassette, and a cassette deck can fly.
Yeah, and then the cavalry arrives in the form of the rest of the Autobots. Of course.
Of course. And Grimlock apologizes for, trying to kill Optimus.
Optimus Prime kind of ignores this apology. It's like, I'm not forgiving or forgetting. That's sort of an undertone here.
It seems like he's just like, I'm going to give some long-winded speech that's not going to address your apology in any way.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode, so we're now up to 5 Dinobots, because more is always better when it comes to dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Join us next time for the beginning of another 3-parter, The Ultimate Doom Part 1, or the episode that third Bay movie was basically based on.
Yeah, the trio of episodes or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the fanfiction recommendations that we've got to do, and there's only the 2 of them, and they're both by the same person. One of which is a sequel to something that I recommended earlier. Alright, so for first recommendation, we have Art and Me by Nightwind, Continuity's G1 cartoon, rated K, it's Jen, there's no pairings. Our characters are the Dinobots, Prowl, Red Alert, Wheeljack, and Ratchet. Okay, so Art and Me is a sequel to a story that Nightwind had written earlier called Vigil. And so the summary is, the Autobots might have a budding Picasso on their hands. Who might it be? And so our theme for actually both of these recommendations were Dinobot shenanigans, because we now have all 5 Dinobots. And as, I've been keeping track of things were in a series or one-shots or whatever, this is a sequel to Vigil, also by Nightwind. And our second recommendation, there's only the 2 of them today, is Crosses to Bear, as I've said before, also by Nightwind. G1 cartoon continuity, it's rated T, it's Gen, there's no pairings, our characters are the Dinobots and various Autobots, and in summary, it's Swoop and a few other crazy Autobots versus a really big chunk of rock with Trax's life hanging in the balance, rating up a bit due to Trailbreaker's gratuitous use of a certain expletive. God damn.
Expletive.
A certain curse word.
There you go.
Okay, and yeah, Dinobot shenanigans. And that's the 2 fanfiction recommendations. Do we have fan art recommendations?
No, because it's an even number episode. Well, fan art next week, though.
Yep.
Well, next episode. Not next, we post every 2 weeks, but you know what I mean.
And that just about wraps it up for us today. Remember to check us out on Tumblr or Pillowfort at Afterspark-podcast for any additional information, show notes, or links we may have mentioned. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at AftersparkPod, all one word, and various other locations by searching for Afterspark podcasts such as AO3, Stitcher, and YouTube, just to name a few. Till next time, I'm Specs.
And I'm Owls.
Toodles!